What's up guys, this is Balázs from Racing Brick. Today I will show you all the details of the first and only non-motorized set from the August 2020 LEGO Technic lineup, the 42112 concrete mixer truck. Let's get started. The set comes in a mid-size box. As you see, my sample looks like it was actually run over by a real concrete mixer truck. It definitely has some stories to tell about the delivery. On the front of the box you can see the truck itself in a pretty neutral environment. Some additional details of a construction site could have been nice. On the back of the box we have much more details. Apart from the dimensions, we get information about the two-axle steering, the function selector of the drum, and the rear view of the truck itself. Another thing to notice on the back of the box, there's no B model. This is clearly a trend now with the bigger Technic sets. Apparently B models were repositioned to the smaller and pullback sets. I'm not sure if that was a good decision. Let me know in the comments how do you feel about this. Now let's open the box. The set has 1163 pieces. It is currently listed for €97.47 on the German LEGO site and $119.99 on the US site, which is an unusual difference. It will be available from the 1st of August. We get 9 numbered bags, an unnumbered one with the tires, the 2 large drum pieces, 2 instruction manuals and a sticker sheet without any extra protection, and another little brochure. Let's have a closer look at the drum pieces. I'm sure there will be some of you who like these and others who don't. Honestly, I have mixed feelings. Although I understand that creating a drum using the standard Technic pieces could have been a challenge with a less appealing and probably less functional result, but these here have some flaws. First of all, they have a lot of scratches on them out of the box, and not only small ones. I really don't know why they did not get extra protection if the surface is this sensitive. The other issue is with the blades on the inside. You can actually see on the outside as well where they are connected, and it looks a bit weird. The manuals don't have anything special. Here you can see the building phases at the beginning, and this is the part list at the end of the second book. The sticker sheet is relatively small. Fortunately, it survived without extra protection, although it became a bit wavy as you see. We also get this little brochure which has a promotional code inside. It can be used in Legoland resorts and discovery centers. Kids can go in for free with this code. Apart from the drum pieces, I did not find other new parts, but the 3x3 biscuit piece in white is a nice and useful new color variant. These were the box contents. Now let's start building. We start with the base of the front section. Here you can see an axle that will transmit the power from the rear differential to the front. The 2 steered axles are already built. You can see the difference between the length of the steering arms on the 2 axles. That will enable them to have a different turning angle. The next step requires some attention or it can go wrong in multiple ways. This assembly has parts for the steering and the crankshaft as well. Make sure those 2 orange pieces are properly aligned on the lower axle. They should both face downwards. You also need to align the axles on the base. They should be properly centered. Now we put the assembly in place. As you see, those orange pieces need to fit between the white ones, and the axles still need to have the same alignment. Once completed, it is already visible how the hand-of-God steering will work, and the different turning angle of the 2 axles is also recognizable. Here comes the inline-4 engine with the pistons built of axles. In the previous sets we usually saw these 3-stud long axles with stop, but this time this is the variant with a stud at the end, and there's a round 1x1 tile added. The axle is now already connected with the engine and it is working nicely. These are the 2 rear axles with the differentials. The orientation of the differentials is very important. Since they are connected with gears in the center, the differentials need to have an opposite orientation compared to each other. Make sure to check how the wheels are turning, otherwise with the wrong differential orientation, they will rotate against each other. Once the rear section is connected to the chassis, you can see how the rear wheels will drive the engines through the differentials. So this is how our build looks like at the end of bag 1. We start bag 2 with the basics of the gearbox that will switch between the manual drum rotation and the other mode when the drum is driven by the wheels. This is the lever that we will use to select between the 2 modes. The next assembly has a linear clutch that we've got first time in the Leap Her set. It is a built-in protection in case if the drum gets jammed. This will be the rotation mechanism of the drum that connects to the driving axles through the linear clutch. After reinforcing the frame here and there, you can already see how the drum rotation mechanism will work. In neutral position of the function selector, the wheels are not driving the drum. In the manual position, the drum can be rotated manually using the axle on the other side of the truck. In the other position, the rear wheels are driving the drum. The linear clutch is there to protect the mechanism if anything gets stuck, but it requires a significant force to engage, so I'm wondering how useful that will be when the model is finished. Adding some details to the rear with the lights, bumpers and the license plate. This is the first sticker that we have to apply. This is the first assembly that impressed me in this set with its structure. It uses two wide-shaped connector hubs as a base, and it will become the discharge chute located behind the drum with this cool range of movement, working just like the rear thing. Here comes the rear support of the drum with the small wheels that will hold the drum in place but allow the rotation. The next item is the funnel that will help us to pour out the concrete. The final exercise of bag 2 is to put on the 8 wheels, and we have the rolling chassis ready. Let's jump to bag 3. Bag 3 begins with the construction of the cabin, using mostly blue and dark blue pieces. This 5x11 panel in dark blue was last used in the limited 41999 4x4 crawler, so they were pretty rare and expensive until now. Here we add the details to the cabin like the seats, steering wheel, the front section, the roof, the A-pillars and so on. The area below the windshield gets a lot of stickers, just like the doors. The cabin section is completed with the exhaust pipes and the hand-of-God steering axle and knob. The next items are the water tank behind the cabin and the crank that can be used to manually turn the drum, both of them using a couple of the new white 3x3 biscuit pieces. After that, all we have left are the mudguards and the assembly of the drum. The truck is now complete. The final bag has the concrete to load. We get 100 round pin connectors. It is fairly easy to load them from the bag, but it won't be that convenient next time. These are the extra pieces left. The total build time was around 2.5 hours. So here is our finished concrete mixer truck. I think it looks great, I like the color scheme and the proportions look okay as well. Hand-of-God steering works using the knob on the top of the cabin. It steers the two front axles. Despite the two-axle steering, the turning radius is not that great. You can see here how the two axles are connected. There are two seats in the cabin, the steering wheel and the uncovered engine between the two seats. Seeing the pistons in action adds to the playing experience, but in reality that would not really pass a safety test. Doors can be opened to grant access to the cabin. Now let's see the main feature. There's a switch on the right side of the truck with 3 positions. In neutral, the drum is disconnected, so you can push the truck around freely. In the right position, the wheels are driving the drum, so the concrete will move inside the drum. The direction of the drum's rotation defines the movement of the concrete. When it is rotated clockwise, then the concrete moves inward along the blade. When it is rotated counterclockwise, then the concrete will unload. This means it is advised to use wheel power only if you drive the truck forward, as driving backwards will unload the concrete at the same time. Here you can see and hear the safety clutch in action. It is engaged if the drum gets stuck for whatever reason and you try to push the truck at the same time. Switching the lever to the left position will enable the manual control of the drum, using the lever on the other side. With the manual operation, we can decide if we want to push the concrete inward or to unload it. The discharge chute can be positioned manually to set the direction of the concrete. Here you can see the blades in action when they push out the pieces. It is advised to use a bowl or something to collect the pieces, otherwise you can lose them quickly. Loading the concrete piece by piece takes a lot of time. Unfortunately, the LEGO version lacks a feeding system that is usually available on these trucks. It is a good opportunity to build something that will help you to load the pieces. When we look at the truck, there's one recent set that seems to be similar, the 42098 car transporter. They have the same wheels and even the sticker design is similar, but if we put them side by side, then we can see that the scale is not exactly the same. The car transporter is bigger and wider, but otherwise I think they can be played together. To answer the obligatory question, due to the width difference, the concrete mixer fits perfectly on the car transporter. So, to sum it up, I think this concrete mixer truck is a nice and playable set, an enjoyable build and the functions are working properly. The lack of protection for the drum pieces is unfortunate, as the scratches will annoy the owners for sure. Please let me know in the comments what is your opinion about the set and stay tuned for the next review. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe and tap the notification bell if you don't want to miss my Technic reviews and other LEGO RC videos. See you next time, bye bye!